Well, a unique plan is in the works to help homeless people in Abbotsford. Ward Draper is the pastor of 5 and 2 Ministries, and he has teamed up with Jeff Grubin, a member of the Fraser Valley Atheists, to build the city's first portable one-person homeless shelters. And both of them join us today on Our Vancouver. How are you doing?
Good, how are you? Good.
So how did you guys get together?
Through a mutual friend, our friend Nancy Gallagher, who works for with an organization called Blankets for Canada, and then a coffee shop. Put those two together, and we ended up just started chatting on a regular basis and gone from there.
And the idea of building a homeless shelter, Jeff, tell me where that came from.
Well, homelessness has been an issue in Abbotsford over the last little while. Obviously, lots of media attention on it. And I just personally started thinking about it. Some of the folks in our group have been wondering what we can do to help some of the folks in some of the neighbors in our city out. And I basically just started doing some research on the internet. A lot of different communities have come up with different ideas. A lot of people have different sort of portable shelter ideas, tent alternatives. Mm-hmm. And in discussion with some of the folks, I visited some of the camps, spoke to some of the people to get an idea of size, portability, different features that they might like, and settled on this idea.
And what was the problem that you were trying to solve? I mean, what did those people tell you about the biggest challenges of being homeless?
The biggest challenge, I think, is the wetness. I mean, temperature isn't as much of a problem, although it's an issue, but the biggest issue that we face here is the wetness. These nylon tents that people are living in, tarps, and any sort of makeshift shelters do not ultimately keep people dry. When they get wet, their blankets get wet, their clothes get wet, they have no facility to dry them, and things like that. It just ends up becoming a real mess, and they get sick, and it's all these problems come out of that.
We're going to look at a picture here. Now tell me, how safe are these? Ward, are you comfortable with this as a one-person shelter?
Oh, very comfortable. I mean, a tent is extremely flammable. So we have fires on a regular basis. We're talking about open candles in the middle of a tent surrounded by blankets. So fires are a common issue for this community. These things are definitely a bit safer because they don't catch fire as quickly. We've also designed it to have a small metal can attached to a wall, so it's stable. We can put, if they want to use that as a heating source, it's stabler, it's more secure. So the safety level is definitely higher. And we're hoping to talk to our fire department about maybe providing some small fire extinguishers to even take it a step further, but definitely safer than a tent.
This is essentially a box on wheels. Can we not do better for homeless people who live in our communities?
We definitely can do better, but this right now is one of those initial steps towards doing better, because unfortunately when it comes to addressing these issues, looking at housing alternatives, it's a 3 to 5 year process. You find an agency who wants to build something, then you go through all the paperwork with the city and the provincial government, and then something may happen. And we're talking 5 years, so we need to find creative, immediate solutions, and this is just one step to improve, one step above a tent to improve the health and safety.
And how important is it for homeless people to have their own space? Because I've spoken with a lot of homeless people who say they don't want to go to a shelter, they don't want to go to a hostel. They'll prefer to live under a bridge or in a tent because at least they get control of their own very small environment.
I think Ward's probably better to speak to this than me, but I'm not sure you can completely generalize about this community in terms of what they want. So this solution that we're talking about isn't the final solution. It's not the end of the problem. Our goal is actually just to try to make their winter more comfortable. If we can do that for $150 for one person, keep them drier and warmer and more comfortable this winter, I think that's $150 well invested. And really, this is just a step one of a bigger plan for us to make their lives better, and we could talk about that as well.
Well, tell me first off where these are going to be placed then. Do we know where they might be placed in Abbotsford?
Well, we're just going to be, like our friends who request them or would like one, we're going to give it to them and wherever they're currently camping. So if their site is up by Mount Lehman in Abbotsford or down by Clearbrook, it's where they are. So we're going to bring those to them and then they'll situate where they are. So they've already got tents. This is just one step better.
And reaction from civic officials so far? What do they think of this?
I haven't talked to our mayor directly or any council yet, but I mean, there's a support and a negative piece that we're hearing from Banman on the issue, and fair enough. We haven't had talks yet, but I'm sure we will in the next few days.
Well, thank you both for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well, Ward Draper is the pastor of 5 and 2 Ministries, and Jeff Grubin is a Fraser Valley Atheist, and both of them live in Abbotsford.